Welcome back. Let's take you further afield to the United Kingdom now, where calls are mounting for Prime Minister Boris Johnson to quit. That's after a damning report into the so-called Partygate. While Johnson faces this pressure, the British people seem to be in good spirits as preparations are underway to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. In other news, the UK government wants an investigation into the chaos at the Champions League final in Paris on Saturday. Let's get more details on all those 3 points from our UK correspondent Ollie Barrett, who joins us now from London. Ollie, first of all, might we see that vote of no confidence take place against Boris Johnson?
It's notoriously difficult to predict, and the reason for that is that the way it's triggered in the Conservative Party, according to its slightly arcane procedural rules, is that you need a percentage of Conservative MPs writing a letter to the 1922 Backbench Committee, which represents Conservative MPs. So what we need at the moment is 54 Conservative MPs to write a letter saying that they want a vote of no confidence in Boris Johnson's leadership. And until we get to 54, that won't be triggered. And one of the reasons it's difficult to predict is that those letters go in anonymously. So we know of 20-odd Conservative MPs who are publicly saying that they think Boris Johnson should indeed go for Partygate and potentially some other issues around his leadership as well. What we don't know is whether a significant number of Conservative MPs have anonymously or secretly written a letter to the 1922 committee without saying publicly that they want Boris Johnson to go. Some Conservative MPs are saying they think we're probably at around 40 letters at the moment, so it could well be that Boris Johnson avoids a no-confidence vote. The other thing worth saying is that if that confidence vote in Boris Johnson's leadership is indeed triggered, he could well win it. And if he does, then that would mean that it would be unlikely that he would face a leadership challenge for the next 12 months. And that would mean, in turn, that it's likely that Boris Johnson would lead the Conservative Party into the next general election, which is due by the end of 2024.
And Ollie, how's Johnson himself in terms of the likelihood of this happening in Parliament? Is he confident?
He says he's confident that he won't see that leadership challenge, and his government ministers are now out publicly supporting him and trying to make the case that this is the wrong time for Conservative MPs to be thinking about changing leader. One of the areas that makes it potentially tricky, though, for Boris Johnson is that actually, even in the Conservative Party, there are quite a lot of Conservative MPs who weren't hugely fond of him, but they thought that he was the man that could deliver electoral success. And then back in 2019, he did deliver that electoral success as leader with a thumping great majority returned to Parliament. But those Conservative MPs who were uncomfortable about his leadership anyway are now looking at opinion polls, and they see that Boris Johnson's personal ratings are not in a very good place here in the UK at the moment. And so for many Conservative MPs, that has become the reason to think about moving him on. Because if you are a Conservative MP that is not particularly fond of Boris Johnson, but you held your nose essentially because you thought he would deliver electoral success, if you now think that actually heading into the next general election he wouldn't deliver that electoral success, then many Conservative MPs think, what is the point of Boris Johnson at this stage? But there is still a significant chunk of the party which supports him and does believe that he is the man to deliver that electoral success. So, as I say, it's difficult to predict whether he will or will not hang on. But he says he's confident that he can avoid a leadership challenge. But, as I say, his ministers are also confident that if he did face a leadership challenge, he'd be fairly well placed to win it.
Now, tell me about UEFA. I mean, I didn't expect that to happen at the Champions League final on Saturday evening. So is the UK asking France for accountability of some sort?
Yes, the UK government believes that UEFA and France and French authorities have questions to answer, and indeed French officials are meeting today and we expect to hear from them a little bit later. Over the weekend, French authorities seem to be suggesting that the blame might lay at the feet of Liverpool supporters and fake tickets that some Liverpool supporters seem to have purchased in error, and that therefore too many people were turning up to the game that actually weren't entitled to be there. there. Now, Liverpool supporters would tell you that that is not an accurate picture of what happened. They would say that there were real issues with the policing operation, real issues with access to the stadium, even for people who did have tickets to the match and were absolutely entitled to be there. Certainly a lot of Liverpool supporters say that they turned up 2 or 3 hours before kick-off and still couldn't get into the ground on time because of some of those policing issues outside. So yes, the UK government is saying that there needs to be an urgent inquiry now into exactly what happened. And we've also been hearing from some Real Madrid fans that they were having problems as well. Certainly some finger-pointing going on there at this point, and as I say, we expect to hear a little bit more from French authorities about what happened later today.
Just very quickly, Ali, we are running out of time. In terms of the Queen's Jubilee celebrations, how are the preparations there going?
Preparations absolutely ramping up. Thursday and Friday are a special holiday here in the UK, so it's a 4-day weekend. There are going to be major events on the Thursday, including Trooping of the Colour, a flypast in central London by the RAF. The Queen is expected to appear on the balcony at Buckingham Palace. On Friday, a special service at St Paul's Cathedral here in London, and then Saturday and Sunday more events as well, including street parties up and down the country, which millions of people are expected to attend.
Ali Barrett, thank you very much, giving us that report from London.